Hey guys, it's Austin. This is going to be the official reboot of my video journal, which you're watching right now, obviously. The old videos that I did had some problems. I couldn't keep up to date with them. And then I had some computer overheating issues, and I've kind of reworked the way I'm going to do the journal. So I guess we start with entry number 1. So here it is. For entry number 1, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I just want to explain what the purpose of all of this is. I guess it's story time. About half a year ago, both my grandmother and my grandfather passed away. I was really close to them in multiple ways. Like physically, they lived right down the street and I saw them all the time. And I started asking a lot of questions, especially to my grandfather, because he had all of these really crazy stories about being in the Navy and being a teenager and all of this like amazing stuff that I'd never heard before. Nobody ever told me about this stuff that my grandfather did. Both my grandparents smoked a lot, so they didn't have good lungs anyway, and my grandfather ended up getting cancer in his throat. And it was getting to the point where he couldn't really talk that much. It was really rough trying to spend time with him, and he couldn't talk, and my grandmother was kind of going downhill mentally, so she didn't know what she was talking about half the time. After they both passed away, I started getting really freaked out. I got scared about all those stories that I wasn't ever going to be able to know because they were like lost with my grandfather. They just disappeared, and I'm sure a couple other people know it, but none of my family knew about a lot of these stories. A lot of the time I would tell my family members stories, and that would be the first time that they were hearing these things, and that's terrifying that I'm one of the only people within the immediate family that knew these things, and besides that, they were gone. I did journal entries before, but I think I'm going to be a little bit more passionate about them now. I don't want that to happen. I mean, maybe my life isn't going to be that interesting. Maybe I'll be an old man and no one's going to care at all. But on the off chance that one of my grandchildren in the future are as interested in my life as I was in my grandfather's life, I want there to be a way to preserve those stories longer than just people retelling them and forgetting parts of it. So this is a journal for my future grandchildren. No, not just them, obviously. My brothers and my sisters too, if they're ever interested, or my girlfriend or family, whatever. Maybe my kids. Anyway, so it's not just for my grandchildren, but to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to address these videos as though it's just for my grandchildren. So yeah, this is a way of preserving all I can about my life and the world, and I hope it doesn't seem that narcissistic or anything. It's not that I think my life's really interesting or anything. It's just in case there's someone down the line that wants to know the story of their ancestors. And I'm not just going to be talking about me. I want to talk about my family. I want to retell the stories of my grandfather and my grandmother and, my uncles and aunts, the people who I think have incredible stories. I want to be able to retell these stories in a way that can be stored for a long time. This is going to be me telling stories about my adventures, complaining about personal problems, talking about current events in the world and what the world is like right now, because by the time that you guys, my grandchildren, are watching this, it's going to be like 50 years down the line, and you're not going to know that much about what's happening right now besides what you learn in school, and that's probably not going to be super interesting. The way I see it, if you're going to be studying the history of right now, like 2015, which way is better? To read it out of a book and see just pictures of it? Or have someone that is living in that moment telling you about them? I'm right here, and it's kind of freaky to think about that what you could be looking right now in a history book that you're studying for a test. It could be actually happening right outside my window right now. Oh shit. I think there's a riot of illegal immigrants outside my window. Anyway, that's it. This is just a gift for you, my future grandchildren. I'm going to try to do this at least once a week. I might do it twice a week. I don't know. It just depends on how my schedule is working out, whatever point in life I am. But I want to make a minimum of one entry every single week, just so you guys have a lot of material to look through. I'm going to be telling stories about adventures that I go on, because there's kind of a lot. I'm kind of obsessed with adventures right now. I'll probably talk about my girlfriend a lot, or complaining about money problems or politics. I also kind of want to use this to keep a log of my progress as far as art goes. I want to make movies. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to write stories. I want to act. I want to film things. and it'd be cool to share with you guys my progress going from absolutely terrible to maybe decent one day. The same thing with music. I really like writing music, and I'm thinking about maybe I'll like record some awful songs for you guys to listen to, and maybe by the time I'm 70 years old, I might be kind of okay at writing music, and then you guys might enjoy it, and then you can laugh at me for how bad I am right now. I'm going to be uploading them to the internet right now as like an online internet backup and a way to share these entries with, family if they're interested. I'm also going to try to keep offline copies of this as a backup on some kind of hard drive or whatever. That way, even if you guys live in some weird dystopian future where there's not that many computers except for the ones that were stolen and there's no such thing as the internet, you can still plug in a hard drive to some old MacBook or Dell or whatever and watch some history and stories. So if you're my grandchildren, you could probably maybe find them on the internet if that's still a thing, or just ask me if you can see the hard drives. That doesn't make sense because you'd need to have the hard drive to be watching this if the internet isn't a thing and this is on the hard drive. So me telling you to have the hard drive doesn't help. I don't know. So somehow I must have given this to you already. So it doesn't matter. Life's easy for you. So that's it. I'm just gonna be talking to a camera like a crazy person and trying to entertain people that don't exist yet for indefinitely. And that seems like a good use of my time. So that's it. I know that I kind of ramble a lot. That's a problem. I'll probably be working on that as I'm making these videos. I kind of write a script, but then I give up and I just kind of make it up as I go. So bear with me for these. Hopefully it'll get better. I don't know. Thanks for watching, grandchildren. If you see me anytime in the near future, I'll probably be sitting on the front porch of my house in a rocking chair, and you can come up to me and watch a movie with me. An interesting one that I haven't seen. Because I watch a lot of movies right now, and in the future I probably would have seen a lot more movies. So find a movie that I haven't seen that you really like, and then make me watch it. If I don't watch it, you can punch me in the face. And this is video evidence of that. So when I'm an old person, I can't complain, because the past me told you that you have permission to punch me in the future in the face. Bye.